Chapter 17 The Predicament. Hogmanay ushered in 1730 in ways no one could have predicted. What started out as a joyful evening filled with family, friends, food, drink, and song concluded with an unnerving, unexpected near calamity. Yet, by the grace of God, tragedy was averted and a new foundation of friendship was built in its place. In the days that followed, the events of that evening were the talk of the town, the witnesses to which speak of it with such frequency and reverence, Makwa and Bibi are woven into the fabric of local lore. Prior to that evening, they had earned a reputation for being solid members of the fledgling community, but their actions on New Year's Eve elevates their stature with the Shawnee and the people of Old Town. As word of their Hogmanay heroics spread, one member of their community, Abraham Hollingsworth, takes particular interest. Hollingsworth is an Irish immigrant Quaker, 14 years William's senior. He arrived in the Shenandoah in the spring of 1728, a year prior to William. Much like him, Hollingsworth has been exploring the frontier intent on finding the perfect location to build a home and mill. In the heart of the Shenandoah Valley, he found fertile land and an ample supply of water to suit his dreams. Except for the local Indian tribes, the valley at that time was completely uninhabited. Notwithstanding, he settled in and started building his dream, and shortly thereafter he founded Old Town. Initially, Hollingsworth built a log cabin and dug himself a well next to a natural spring he found while exploring. However, he soon found himself living in constant fear of the natives. Out of pure necessity, he added a formidable wooden stockade around the perimeter of his cabin, much like a small garrison or fort. This is where Abraham and William become fast friends. Upon hearing of William's deeds, Hollingsworth seeks an audience with the Irishman the townspeople are calling Makwa. His hope is that William can assist with what he perceives as a threat to his homestead, by serving as ambassador to the Shawnee. Bonner Family Farm, just outside of Old Town, Shenandoah Valley, Virginia Colony, Monday morning, January 9th, 1730. William and Bibi are working outside when a rider approaches. Spotting him through the trees, William says, "Looks like we've a visitor." Bibi looks up, squinting into the distance. He is floored when he recognizes who it is, breathing, "I cannot believe it. What in blazes could he want?" William queries, "He who?" "Well, if in me eyes dinna lie, that there be Abraham Hollingsworth." "Hollingsworth? Who's that?" "The bloody founder of Old Town, that's who." He rides up and dismounts. "Morning, gents." Removing his gloves, he extends a hand. "Abraham Hollingsworth, you must be Bruce Bonner. Pleasure to meet you, sir." Bibi shakes his hand. "Folks just call me Bibi." "'Tis a pleasure, Bibi," Hollingsworth replies with a bow of his head. Giddily, Bibi gasps, "The pleasure's mine." Turning to William, Hollingsworth firmly takes his hand, shaking it vigorously. "And you must be William Bruce Alban." "Guilty as charged, your honor," William chuckles. With the firm grip of his hand, Hollingsworth breathes, "Makwa, the Injun talker. Your exploits are being told far and wide, lad. You're famous." "Famous me arse," Bibi scoffs. "He shovels shite in me barn." Hollingsworth throws a disapproving glare at the old Scot, prompting Bibi to stifle his laugh. Turning to William, he continues, "From what I hear, famous doesn't even tell the tale." William and Bibi exchange a raised brow, then shift their eyes back to Hollingsworth. "Everyone's talking about it. Everyone." "It?" William asks. "Aye, what you did, lad." William removes his broad-brimmed hat and scratches his head. "What I did?" "Aye, on New Year's Eve, lad, with the Shawnee. You're the talk of the town." William and Bibi exchange another glance. "Hogmanay," Bibi grumbles. Squinting his eyes, the man asks, "How's that?" "Hogmanay. It's no bloody New Year's Eve. Us Scots celebrates Hogmanay. Period. No offence intended, Mr. Bonner, but I'm not Scottish. So, can we agree to disagree?" William sees Beebe's feathers getting ruffled and quickly steps forward, placing a hand on Beebe's chest. They exchange a brief glance and William says, "No offense, Mr. Hollingsworth. Truth be told, Beebe and I had this same conversation not 2 weeks ago, and frankly, I'd rather not revisit it today. So, what brings you all the way out here?" "I've heard tales of your deeds, and you, Makwa, are the man I need." Placing the hat back on his head, William asks, "Need? For what?" "For creating a dialogue with the Shawnee." Hollingsworth goes on to share his concerns and how he believes William can help. The young Irishman considers what is being asked of him. It is a big ask, and the first true test of his relationship with Skiagunsta. And yet, should he pull it off, it could only serve to strengthen their bond. Not to mention, it is a golden opportunity to gain additional clout with the community and its founder. Such influence could come in handy should he decide to stick around after his contract with Beebe concludes at the end of winter. Extending a hand, he says, "Mr. Hollingsworth, I'd be more than happy to see what I can do. The Shawnee are reasonable people. I'm sure we could find a way to remedy the situation, for both sides." "I'd be much obliged, lad. Much obliged indeed," Hollingsworth extols, shaking William's hand. Shawnee Village, Shenandoah Valley, Virginia Colony, the next day, Tuesday, January 10th, 1730. Off to an early start, William is venturing through the wilderness to speak with his new friends. Fresh off their New Year's ordeal, the Shawnee welcome him with open arms. Upon his arrival, a perimeter guard guides him through camp to Skiagunsta. Surprised to see him, he breathes, "Makwa, you honor us with your presence." "The honor is mine," he says, embracing his Shawnee brother. Skiagunsta gestures to a campfire. "Come, sit." As William makes himself comfortable, Skiagunsta, always one to cut to the chase, asks, "Tell me, what brings you here so early in morning?" William shrugs. "Have I said how wise you are?" Skiagunsta laughs. "Wise enough to know you have come to talk important matters." "Aye, important to both of us." Aware of his friend's propensity for dispensing with the bullshit, William cuts to the chase and shares Mr. Hollingsworth's story and concerns. Having breached the subject, William learns the land where Hollingsworth built his settlement has long been a hunting camp of the Shawnee. Naturally, his decision to build there has not set well with tribal members. In light of this revelation, William, carefully wielding his recently acquired influence, tests the water for a solution, preferably a harmonious one. Through hours of discussion, light is shed on their two cultures, their history, their beliefs, and with that, understanding and mutual respect are achieved. Ultimately, they broker a deal whereby both parties agree that the land still belongs to the Shawnee, and if Abraham wishes to stay, he must purchase the land from the tribe. The price for said land equaling the sum of 1 cow, 1 calf, and a beautiful large piece of fine red cloth. William finds their offer reasonable, and is certain Hollingsworth will happily agree to the terms. With a nod and a smile, they stand and embrace in a wrist-to-elbow handshake. After brokering the deal, William's bond with his Shawnee brethren grows even stronger, while at the same time, his rapport with Mr. Hollingsworth blossoms into a solid friendship and business relationship. As from that point on, William becomes the sole provider of fine meats and game birds for the Old Town founder. His influence profound, Hollingsworth introduces him to his circle of friends. In turn, those friends become patrons as well. In very short order, William establishes a prominent meat business in Old Town, providing him supplemental income while he works for the Bonners. And aw shucks, if he intends to make any money at it, he will need to be out hunting every chance he gets. Bonner Family Farm, just outside of Old Town, Shenandoah Valley, Virginia Colony, late winter, 1730. The Bonners and their neighbors did their due diligence the previous summer, and it paid off, as each of them made it through their first Virginia winter without a hitch. The problem is, with spring fast approaching, William is facing a predicament. That being, where to go from here. As the last days of winter wind down, William knows his agreement with Bebe is nearing its end. This troubles him. Mr. Davies was right. He found everything he dreamed of in Virginia, and the people of Old Town have given him a new sense of family. But his arrangement with Bebe is only temporary. After all he has been through and all he has accomplished, he should be soaring like an eagle. Instead, he is overwhelmed, consumed by his dilemma. The Shenandoah Valley is experiencing colder temperatures and more snow than is typical, extending the perception of winter through the first month of spring. The illusion translating into an environment of day-to-day business as usual, which is to say, not a single word has been spoken about William's departure. Nevertheless, as the days stretch into weeks, and those weeks stretch into early May, Bebe realizes he can no longer avoid the topic. But he worries William might say something he does not want to hear. Since his arrival, William has endeared himself not only to the Bonners, but to the entire community, not to mention the Shawnee. Thus, the last thing any of them wants is to see him move along. The clock keeps ticking as the last of the snow melts away, leaving Bebe in dire need of a plan. Bright and early one mid-May morning, Bebe mounts up and secretly heads out. He needs to speak with his neighbors to see what, if anything, they can do to convince William to stay. After a long day of talking and several miles of riding the rolling hills and sloshy roads of Old Town, Bebe finally returns home, but not before he and his friends came up with a surefire plan. All he needs to do now is avoid breaching the subject for a few more weeks, or at least buy enough time to put their plan in motion. To achieve this, Bebe keeps William busy in the forest logging trees. He tells him they are needed for an extension to their cabin, his explanation claiming he and Berta are expecting an addition to their family. William, gullible as he is with such matters, is ecstatic for them. Furthermore, he is thrilled to be part of the project. Plus, the longer Bebe keeps him busy, the more time he has to think about his next move. In the weeks that follow, he and his farmhand diligently harvest and prepare the lumber. In William's mind, it only seems fitting that his final days on the Barners be spent working on this ever so important project. But then it occurs to him, with the new addition coming, there will be little chance for him to stay. Early one morning in late May, the two men start their day just as they have for nearly a year, comfortably parked at the breakfast table with hot cups of coffee, a plate of eggs, a pile of Berta's freshly baked biscuits, and some pepper gravy. Like every other morning, they discuss their plans for the day over breakfast when someone knocks on the cabin door. "Bloody hell! Who in blazes would be knocking on me door at this hour?" Bebe rants. "Do they no ken I'm eating me eggs? William, will you kindly see to it?" Of course, William is no happier about his meal being interrupted than Bebe, but then, he is not the boss. Standing near the fireplace, Flora sees his frustration and struggles to keep a straight face. William gets up and answers the door. Cracking it open, he finds Doc standing on the other side. Surprised to see him, he puts on his best smile while his eggs get cold. "Doc, come in. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised to see you at such a wee hour. What brings you out here so early on a Saturday morn?" "Why, you, of course," Doc replies, stone-faced. "Bloody hell! Have I forgotten something?" Doc raises a hand to answer, but before he can, there comes another knock on the door. William spins to the door, then looks back at Beebe, who offers only a shrug. He turns back to the door and opens it. Convinced his eggs are already cold, he turns on the charm when he sees another familiar face standing on the porch. "Jeffrey, what a surprise! Good to see you, friend. Please, come in, come in." "Why, thank you, lad," Mr. Dean replies with a sinister Irish grin. "Morning, all." They all say their hellos, and Beebe asks, "So, what drug you out here so early?" "Certainly not you, you old coot." "Coot!" Beebe snaps. "You heard me. And dinna go getting your feathers ruffled. But nay, I'm no here for you. I'm here for me fellow Irishman." William gasps. "Me? My word, gents, I must be losing me mind. Tell me, what have I forgotten?" With a scratch of his temple, Beebe replies, "I dinna ken. Doc, has he forgotten something?" "Not to me knowledge." Doc grins. Frazzled, William blurts, "What in blazes?" Before he can finish, there is another knock on the cabin door. This time, William just swings it open. Standing on the other side is Dean McGregor, wearing a Cheshire cat smile like the cat who caught the canary. "Top of the morn, lad." With a scrunched right brow, William glares at him suspiciously. "Dean, why in blazes are you here?" Still smiling from ear to ear, McGregor huffs, "Well, that's a fine how do you do." "Beebe, what in blazes is going on?" Beebe raises a hand to answer when another pounding on the cabin door interrupts him. Before William can open it, the singer of songs comes waltzing in and with a bow says, "Top of the morn, brother." Shocked, William blurts, "Stephen, what in the—" "All right, that's enough. Tell me, why are y'all here?" Raising a hand again, Beebe steps forward. "They're here for you, lad. All of 'em." "But why? Have I done something wrong?" Like a father speaking to a son, Beebe says, "On the contrary, since you arrived, you've done everything you can to do the right thing. By all of us. You've helped every man among us at one time or other, whether it were building a barn or smokehouse, or helping to put food on the table. And I dinna ken for certain, but you may even have saved our lives with that slow-talking Injun speak of yourn. What's more, you never asked for anything in return. That's why we're here, because none of us wants to see you leave." William gasps. "But—" Raising a hand again, Beebe continues, "I ken our arrangement is all but run its course, but to tell you true, well, we'd just really like to see you stay. So, I'm asking, we're asking, William Bruce Alban, will you stay on here at the farm and make Old Town your home?" William is floored. Looking back at him are the faces of his many friends, each of them smiling and nodding, awaiting his answer. He is taken aback by what he is witnessing. A little overwhelmed, he struggles to conceal his emotion. Pausing for a moment, he gathers himself. He takes in a deep breath and lets it out. With a long face, he sighs, "Well, I could have saved you a long ride over here." Everyone exhales, and a hush falls over the room. As their smiles melt to frowns, William blurts, "Because all you had to do was ask. Stay? I'd love to stay." There is a sigh of relief as their smiles quickly return. Like an explosion, they all start whacking him on the noggin with their hats, slapping him on the back, and shoving him back and forth like a little brother. Joyful tears and laughter fill the room. Just then, McGregor steps forward and with a raise of his hand says, "By the way, 'tis no just the four of us." Flinging the door open, he steps outside and hollers, "He said he'll stay." From inside the cabin, a crowd is heard cheering outside. Stunned, William steps outside to find all the faces he has come to know cheering, whistling, and clapping. All of the people he has helped, worked with, talked, laughed, sweated, and broken bread with are there. They are all there, with wagons full of supplies, tools, and food, just like a barn raising. The pure astonishment on William's face is priceless. All present can see how moved he is. He truly cannot believe what is happening. Not since his early years while growing up in Ireland has he found himself in a place where he is so warmly cared for. Not since Senior's farm has he felt so at home. William left his uncle's home in Pennsylvania in search of a purpose and a place he can call home. And just as Mr. Davies predicted, he has found both in Old Town. Overwhelmed, he is incapable of expressing his appreciation. All he can bring himself to do is stand there smiling and shaking his head in disbelief. Tears well up as each of his friends come forward to shake his hand or pat his back. Then it hits him. But the Bonners are expecting a new edition, so I canna stay here.
Surely you do not think Berta and I are having another baby.
You're not? To everyone's amusement, Berta giggles. Oh, heavens no. Baby laughs.
I'm too bloody old for that.
That's true, McGregor teases. Beebe glares at him and barks.
Shut it!
Turning to William, he continues.
When I said we were expecting an addition, I meant you.
With a pat on William's back, Doc adds.
That's right, lad. He meant a new addition to our family.
Smiling from ear to ear, eyes wide, William says, You know you all didn't have to come, but I'm glad you did.
Well, Geoffrey says with a chuckle, that's no entirely true, lad. 'Cause truth be told, we're going to need all the help we can get building your cabin.
A cabin? You're building me a cabin? With a wide-eyed grin, McGregor jests.
I hope you didn't think we'd have you stuck with Beebe. I mean, we all love him, but none of us wants to live with him. God, no, lad. I canna imagine such a torture. He'd drive me to drink, Geoffrey says with a wink.
That makes two of us, McGregor laughs.
Who are you, fooling McGregor? Like you've ever needed an excuse to drink, Beebe retorts.
McGregor scratches his head.
That's true.
The crowd laughs. Taking it all in, William says, I don't know what to say. That's when Master Carpenter Geoffrey Dean pipes in, taking charge of the situation.
Leave that to me, lad.
Eyeballing the gathered crowd, he barks.
Get off your arses! There's work to be done!
Like every other time they have gathered for a project, the women get to setting up tables and preparing food, while Geoffrey directs the building of a suitable 12-by-12 cabin right there on the Bonners' farm. It is another back-breaking day, but the old towners are determined to put a roof over William's head. Throughout the day, they cut, cove, saddle, and stack until the cabin is complete. With an arm around Geoffrey's shoulder, William breathes. She's beautiful.
And she'll keep you warm and dry all winter, Geoffrey replies.
Just then, Beebe chimes in.
Nay, what he needs to keep him warm all winter is a wife.
Everyone starts to laugh. With a tilt of his head, Geoffrey looks at him and says,
Sorry, lad, I can't help with that.
Over the next 2 weeks, William, the Bonners, and a few of their friends chink the exterior walls, build a stone fireplace, and hang the front door, windows, and shutters, until finally the cabin is ready for William to move into. And when he does, a new chapter of his life begins as a permanent resident of Old Town. A few months after moving in, William receives a letter from his Uncle James in Pennsylvania. His Aunt Barbara's husband, Martin Delaney, has passed away. He was 82. The letter explains that his aunt is doing fine despite her loss, adding she now lives alone in their family home on the Hunter estate in Newton Square. She will live there until her death in 1739 at the age of 65.